this episode of
Yes.
TBR Tuesday, our second official episode of it.
Wait, hang on. We never introduce ourselves. Whenever we record, every single time we forget to introduce ourselves.
I am
literally every time.
I'm your worst nightmare.
That's an alarming statement.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Hannah, your worst nightmare.
I've been just reading a lot of paranormal, just like intense men in the past few days. I am changed. So yeah, that's me, Hannah Changeling.
And I am Caroline, and I am tired.
Caroline the Tired. I realized in Immortals After Dark they give like epithets? Like Emmeline the freaking timid.
Yeah,
so you're Caroline. You're Caroline the Tired, and I'm Hannah the
Changed is what
the
you
changed.
said.
Hannah
Actually,
the changed.
In high school, I was in marching band. I played the flute, and I think it was my freshman year, maybe sophomore year. We did this thing where we gave everyone little epithets. So it was like, I don't even know, like Christine the Elegant, Lady whatever the what, because we were all, It was an all-girl section at that point. So like there was one girl who had really curly hair, and she was Lady Riley the Curly, and like Lady Isabel the Kind, and whatever. I really don't remember what I was. I think I was Lady Caroline the Fabulous, actually, based on my personality. That's probably what I was dubbed. I was a lot.
I wanted it to start with a C.
Yeah, they didn't rhyme. I was initially Lady Caroline the Fair, and I was like, that's a boring name. Like, thank you. I appreciate that you think I'm pretty, but like, I don't know what my epithet would be now.
I mean, unhinged is always a good one. The jarring.
Jarring.
The jarring.
Hannah the Jarring. And Caroline the Chaotic. There you can get the alliteration. Hannah the...
See, another tangent. When I was young, people would be like, friends, and you're playing on the playground. You're like, what animal are you? People would go with their names. I mean, I had hamster, horse, and hippo. None of those.
That's rough.
None of those feed the ego. I just have to admit. So, Hannah I'm not heroic, not Herculean. I am hungry. Just kidding. I just ate. Hannah I'm not honorable, really.
It's a hunger for life.
It's a hunger like no other.
And a hunger like no other.
Yeah.
Which I guess brings us to the actual point of this episode of Romance or TBR.
Yeah. Yeah,
TBR
I've been reading
Tuesday.
so much. Immortals After Dark. It's taken a number. In a past episode, Caroline was like, I couldn't possibly listen to multiple of these back to back because my brain would be fried listening to Robert Petkoff, and you were correct.
In the best way.
I just can't stop.
However,
yeah, I can't stop. It's like I haven't read an arc. I haven't read like a physical copy. I haven't listened to anything like since I finished the Halloween novellas. Like it's all been this because I was listening to A Hunger Like No Other before that. Stopped, took a little break and a snack, and then just went right back into it. And it's been what, like a week? Like my God. Oh, when did we record that? No, it hasn't been a week. We recorded that on like
less than a week.
Is that Monday? Yeah, something like that. Sunday, Saturday, Friday. I don't know.
Friday?
Time isn't real.
Whatever. But
yeah,
the point is, and now you've read more because I had read one or two books. I'd read 2 books more than you, and now you're 2 books ahead of me.
Yeah. You were just getting to the demon.
Yes,
and there were 2 demon books in a row.
Yes,
and
the
second demon book fucked me up.
That's the one I'm excited for.
It was so good.
I've been waiting for Rydstrom since he showed up in Mariquetta's book.
But you haven't read Cade's though, have you?
No, I haven't gotten there.
So
that's the next one for me.
What happens to Rydstrom in Cade's book? Like I was just like, oh my fucking God. Because like you see what happens to him at the beginning, and then there's like nothing. So we don't get any peaks, and at the end you see, and then you're like, oh my God. And then I had to start. I listened to it in such a short amount of time. Like I physically couldn't do anything else. It was so good. Like there's so much just sexual torture. Like they bring each other, like they edge each other, like no edging like no other. That's what that book is, and edging like no other. Like I don't even
I actually do have several books I'm in the middle of that I need to finish before I can continue Immortals After Dark. So maybe we shouldn't talk about these books because I'm about to drop all of my current reads.
Oh, I've done the opposite. I have a few that I was reading, and they are just sitting on that poor Goodreads currently reading shelf, just being consistently replaced.
So I can't start an Immortals After Dark when I'm in the middle of other things because I know I will drop everything to finish it. It's fine.
It's so fine. Rydstrom's book truly.
I'm ready. My body is ready.
And the heroine, she's so badass. Like, because she's like evil and chaotic, and he starts the book off by saying, "That's my evil bitch." And I was like, I want to be somebody's evil bitch. Hannah, the evil bitch. I want to be somebody's evil bitch. That's all I want. He'll love me at my evil bitch. Like, it took me out. And it imprinted on me. I've been changed. AKA Hannah the Changed. Yeah. And the audiobooks, like Robert Petkoff, for some reason, his just like voice reminds me, I know you haven't seen it a lot, but the narrator in The Sandlot, I don't know why. I don't know. Either his delivery or something. And so I'm like consistently thinking of both The Sandlot, but then also just
y'all should see, I'm like side-eyeing the hell out of like
I'm side-eyeing myself. I don't know what it is.
I just looked into the camera like I'm on The Office. What are you even talking about?
Okay, Jim.
The Sandlot? Like the children's movie?
Yeah, but there's a narrator. He like starts like the beginning and like the end, and like for some reason that man's voice reminds me of Robert Petkoff, and I can't shake it because I watched that movie so much.
Is Robert Petkoff the narrator in The Sandlot? That's an old movie, right?
It sure is. I mean, I don't know what Robert Petkoff how does he do it so well?
It is in fact not Robert Petkoff, by the way. I figured, I mean, we knew it wasn't, but I did Google just in case.
But my favorite delivery of his has been Cade's, because it's a mix of like South African and Australian, but then like the humor that he just delivers some lines, and whenever they say fuck, because they're all just like, what the fuck? Like, they're just so confused. I love it. And
the man has a magical voice.
He really does. And I wonder if he narrates anything else besides all these Kresley Cole books.
I'm really going down the hole of Robert Petkoff narrated
books. I'm happy for you.
A lot of them are history. It's like history, like political books, and then
I could see that.
Really sexy paranormal romance.
Thank God. The duality of Robert Petkoff. I mean,
also some mystery.
He has a very good accent control. Like, it's insane.
Some Star Trek books.
Star Trek. They quote Star Trek in these books. 6 Degrees. Any Duchess Will Do is narrated by Eva Kaminsky, which she also narrated Kit McBride Gets a Wife, but she didn't do her. I think she's American, but in the Any Duchess Will Do, she has like I think it's like a Cockney or like a very like a lower class accent for the heroine, and then he is obviously he's a duke. And just her narration of that book is so good. And I was in a Cub Foods, and she was getting railed over a desk, and I was in the cheese aisle, and I wasn't prepared. And then it happened again, and I wasn't
prepared.
No, and then I was in the checkout line, and I was like, "Can people hear me?" I mean, I've also been playing it pretty risky with these audiobooks because I use my AirPods, and I know. And I feel like if I sit too close to my parents, they'll just they'll know like what, like, because you can hear like a little like background talk if someone else is listening to AirPods. So I'm just like, what do they know? Like, what are they experiencing?
Horrible.
Yeah. And then one time they like disengaged and started playing, and I was like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah. Have you read Thank You for Listening by Julia Whelan?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, she's an audiobook narrator, and she's like listening to a badly written steamy romance book, and the opening scene, I think, of that on a plane next to a small child. And there's actually the scene of my nightmares where she's like, she puts her headphones back in and is like cranking up the volume because she can't hear it, only to look over and have like the mom is covering the kid's ears and is like yelling at her basically because she is blasting this erotica, or at least erotic scene on this plane. And that actually, because I think about that every time I listen to an audiobook in public.
Yeah.
I live in fear. I actually can't usually listen in public because I'm so
Mm.
afraid.
It's scary out there. Like, I've had them play, they've connected to our truck's Bluetooth, so then you'll get in the car, and then if you were the last person to connect, it'll connect again, get in there with the whole family.
Nope.
And then the last one I think was Megan Frampton, and her last few have been pretty steamy, so I nearly dodged a bullet. Also, like, car speakers, like, if you play in your car out loud, people can hear outside your car, but you think it's like a safe zone.
Oh yeah,
and it's not. No.
Not a safe zone. There's no such thing as a safe zone, actually.
Yeah. The first romance audiobook that made me grab headphones was the Kiss Quotient. I was like laying in my bed, and my bedroom is connected to my bathroom, and so you can, like, the walls are pretty thin, so if it's loud enough you could definitely hear. So I was freaked the fuck out because my dad works down here. I think at that point, was that like the beginning of the pandemic? I don't know. I was terrified. Amy Leah has a good book, X's and O's. It comes out in January. And the heroine, she is, I never know if I'm saying heroine as in the drug or heroine as in, you know, like a female main character. So, like, I don't know if there's different pronunciations there, but whatever.
I've heard some people say heroine, and it enrages me a little bit.
Heroine. So that I never know.
I don't know if it's wrong. I just don't like the way that heroine sounds. I go heroine.
Heroine, okay. Works for me, because I get it's like marquess. I finally kind of conquered that word.
You got it. You got it. For
the longest time, I was like marquess or marquess, or it was a bad time for me.
As long as you don't say marquis, we're good.
Well, because isn't a marquis a totally different thing?
It is Marquis. It's the French version is a marquis.
Okay, because there's like an Eloisa James.
There's some other way that people say it. I think they say like marquess is a common
marquess.
one.
I've seen that. No, I've heard that. Yeah. I always want to say like marquess, like quack, like quack. I'm the quack.
That's closer. Anyway, X's and O's.
Yeah, X's and O's. Tara, she's a bookstagrammer and I think a book talker. And so she loves romance books. It's her personality. She leaves them all over the apartment. It's a roommate's romance. So he is consistently like looking through her shelves and reorganizing them because she's a chaos demon like I am, no rhyme or reason. And then he wants to make them all pretty and stack them up and whatever. And so then she's listening to a spicy audiobook in their shared kitchen, and he walks in, and it was like, it was spicier language than even the book itself used for the two sex scenes in the book. It was very funny. And he's the hottest contemporary man I've read in a long while. I love that book so much. I cannot wait for it to come out. And the audiobook, as soon as I can get my hands on that, I'm so excited. It's going to be so good. But that was another tangent. What were we talking about? Listening to audiobooks?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Robert Petkoff.
The point of this episode was to talk about what we've read. So I guess that was what you were talking about in Mortals After
Dark. That's like all I've read besides like 3 books. Reading. Yeah.
Sure. I have basically not even read this week. I've had family visiting. Things are going on. I'm tired, y'all. Mm-hmm. And before that, we just read a lot of Halloween stuff. So the only other thing, because if you want to hear about the various Halloween things, you can listen to our last Tuesday episode. The only other thing I read was, and I'm blanking on the title, in which Margo Halifax earns her shocking reputation, which is a novella, I believe. It's a novella by Alexandra Vasti. I'm not sure how you say her last name. Which I assume I'm
excited for that one.
Is still, if you sign up for her newsletter, you get it for free. So I did that.
I think it's Virgin Hero, right?
Loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
It was so good. I read it in one sitting. It only took me, I think, a couple hours, something like that. I'm kind of slow when I read physical books, so some of you can probably read it much quicker than I did. But I just didn't want to stop. Margo Halifax is a twin. She and her twin sister are very rich and very scandalous. So because they're really rich, they can kind of get away with doing whatever they want. And her brother's best friend is madly in love with her and has been pining for her for many years. So basically, it's a class difference. He's now a lawyer, so like he's kind of, the poor friend that comes home from school.
Love a good barrister.
Yes, absolutely. Ugh. He comes home with the brother. I think it's like the day after Margo and Matilda have their coming out. So they're 18. Mm-hmm. And you expect, all the gentlemen callers are there the next morning. You know what that's going to look like, except it's absolutely wild. I think Matilda's like sitting on the piano or something. Listen, they're having a crazy time. And he watches across the room as Margo charms this group of guys by tying a cherry stem with her tongue.
I do love that.
And he is immediately gone for her and spends the next 7 years just pining. She's been having a crazy time, she and her sister, and then, present day, so 7 years after this, she basically shows up in a storm, so, like, dripping wet, I think in the middle of the night, or at least late, at his apartment, and is like, what's up? I need your help. Her sister, who, there's this whole, something she did, she has eloped with this older gentleman who I want to say is a widower. I don't know that for certain, but like that's how he read to me. If that's not true, he may or may not be a widower, but he's an older guy. They're a little worried about him. He's pretty quiet. You don't know much about him. They think she might be in danger. She's eloped with him. It's very strange that she wouldn't confide a lot of this stuff to Margo because they're so close. And Margo's like, we have to go after her. We have to stop them and save her. And Henry, the hero, is like, no. We will not be doing that. Out loud, he's like, what? I have a job. I'm a lawyer. I can't just leave. But inside, he's like, I can't be trapped in a carriage with Margo for days. He's like, I can't do it. I will snap. Like, I need time to recover from being around Margo or else my self-control will snap. And so she's like, depressing. Fine. So she goes home. She's going to go to Scotland alone. That's her plan. Yeah. Brilliant. And he shows up and he's packed a bag and he's like, no, I'm coming with you. And so they basically pack into a carriage. So it's also a road trip romance. And they take off.
I found a few more road trip ones recently that I didn't realize were road trip, and I'm punching myself because we didn't include them.
I know, we missed it. It's fine. We'll do another one eventually.
There are enough.
Yeah. So they take off to Scotland to try to save her from this guy that may or may not be dangerous. And they spend many days in a carriage on the road, pining for each other. She's like, whoa, hang on. Why am I very attracted to Henry? What's going on there? There's a carriage accident. They have to take shelter from a storm in an abandoned cottage. It's not like incredibly sexy, but it was steamier than I had anticipated, and it's good. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, that is a solidly like sexy novella to me, even though it's not overwhelmingly so. It was very good. It is Virgin Hero. It's one of the, like, she didn't know that he was a virgin, which is delicious.
Truly delicious.
And he didn't mean to tell her too. There's this whole where she's like, you didn't ruin me, like I've been with people before, like this wasn't my first time. And he's like, it was my first time. And then he's like, oh, I didn't mean to tell you that, like, oh, that's embarrassing. And she's like, okay, noted. It was very good. That. It was great. I sped through it. The conflict wasn't super drawn out. I mean, it couldn't be. It's a novella, but like you get to the point. There's a fight.
Yeah.
And then it wraps up fairly quickly.
And I just love knowing that it's a novella, that you can just like read it super quick and have a great time, and then it's over.
And it was a great time.
Yeah. It sounds like it. I have another one that's not necessarily one that I just read, but if we want another lawyer, barrister man who's also a virgin, keep Her Lessons in Persuasion by Megan Frampton on your TBR. It comes out in 2023, January 24th. It's so good. I'm like reading my review, and one of my things is Persuade Me Daddy. I mean, same, as he is a barrister. And then my other one was Screw Mansions and Manors. I just want a barrister with a modest set of rooms and a modest cock. So he's amazing. And that's another one. What else have I read? I read the two Manda Collins, A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem, and then An Heiress's Guide to Deception and Desire, both narrated by Mary Jane Wells, both very good audiobooks. I had read the first one just in the paperback, but this is my first time reading like reading via the audiobook, and it made it a lot more enjoyable for me. And since it was my second time, I could really like focus on certain things, because my first time I definitely thought it skewed a lot more to the mystery, but I was able to pick up more romance the second time. And the one sex scene, I think I mentioned this in another episode, the one sex scene was very sexy. Again, not a lot, you didn't get much, but it was very good. And then An Heiress's Guide to Deception and Desire is the second one. Very cute. I thought it was low angst. There was the scene preceding the sex scene, I thought it was closed door, because they were like in the bedroom gonna get undressed, and then the chapter broke, and then and obviously I don't have the physical copy or that I was reading, and so I just heard the chapter break. I was like, you cannot tell me that they have just had sex and that I'm getting nothing, because they started the next chapter out of breath and sweaty on the bed, and I was like, fuck this, what happened? But they were just sweaty from removing their clothes. So they were just like cuddling after removing their clothes because it was so exhausting. And then they had sex and it was good. Honestly, if I was wearing those clothes back then,
too many layers.
I can barely wash my face and brush my teeth when I'm tired. Like, I couldn't get out of those clothes after like a long ball. Also having to go to the bathroom. No.
It's rough out here.
I know. So I read those in preparation for the third one, which is one of the ones that's stuck on my currently reading shelf of Goodreads. I think I've read like 3 pages because Immortals After Dark possessed me. And then I did get another arc read, though, and that was Curled Up with an Earl by Amy Rose Bennett. I really loved the first one, too. It was Up All Night with a Good Duke. They're part of the Byronic Book Club. So they're just very funny, very light. She's a botanist, so if you love botany, it's Mistaken Identity. I love a good, not necessarily mistaken because he's undercover, but he's pretending to be their stable master, and so he like comes up upon her. Her carriage has like sunk into the mud. He comes up, rescues her, and then they travel back, and then he's like, just kidding, I'm not a stranger, I'm now the stable master. And then it's a whole thing, and she doesn't realize till maybe a little bit after 50%, but that's one of my favorite things, is like a duke pretending to be a footman, stuff like that. So I had a lot of fun, and the sex scenes were pretty good and hot. She writes very good sex scenes. She's one of the authors in that what's that Christmas novella anthology, the Duke in a Box. I think it's Duke in a Box. She's in
like,
she's in
how
that.
many Christmas historical anthologies there are.
I know. That one comes out November 1st. The anthology, this one comes out February 7th of 2023, but the anthology, I've already pre-ordered it. I'm very excited because Amy Rose Bennett's an author, Kate Bateman, a few others. So I'm ready for that. But that was literally my only other one besides Payback's a Witch, but I talked about that enough in the Halloween one. But yeah, then it's like all Kresley Cole. And I have no brain left. I'm still thinking about...
It's all Kresley Cole, and I have no brain left.
I'm just thinking about Kiss of a Demon King. Like, I didn't think the Horns would do it, but they did
I knew.
it.
I haven't even read those books, and I know. Come on now.
Rub your rock hard horns.
Yeah. What? There's a line in
Nyx. It's like Nyx or
she's like, I'll tell you if you let me lick your rock hard horns.
Yeah.
And that actually was the scene where Nyx went from like a funny character that I enjoyed to, oh, you're one of my favorite characters. You're hilarious.
Yeah. I can't wait for her book, because I'm assuming she gets one at some point. I feel like
there's no Nyx book currently in existence.
What?
No. It's an ongoing series, and also we don't even know if Nyx is going to get one.
What?
I feel like you need to read the rest of the books. I do too.
What do you know? Like, I don't want to know what you know.
I've listened to, Fated Mates episodes sporadically. Not the specific Immortals After Dark episodes, but they mention them elsewhere.
She needs a book. Well, that'll make me angry.
It's an ongoing what do you mean it'll make
I know, but it's got 17 books in it. Like, I'm not good with things that don't have like a finite ending. Which is a lot of obviously series that we read right now, but like when they're older and then you don't know, like the Ravenels, like not knowing if the Ravenels is going to, like, what's going to happen. Like,
I'm not older.
Stresses me out. The Ravenels are semi-ish older. I mean, Cold Hearted Rake is still when they had, I mean, when was that published? So like 2015,
Devil in
16?
Disguise came out in 2021.
I know. No, that's still going. So it's like an older series that's like still going into the present. And so I just get stressed out not knowing what's happening with it.
Okay. It's not that. It's from 2015 was Cold Hearted Rake. That's not exactly like an old series.
I was right. But to me, I don't like watching TV shows that aren't over. But like, I just feel like if the series is going on for that long, at some point the author's just going to get tired. And I don't want that to happen. So
I don't think that's the case with most book series.
Some of them.
Although I have no idea when Lisa Kleypas is giving us another book.
Exactly. Because I think like on a normal schedule it would have been this year. But I think people in like Facebook groups have been speculating on when.
I mean, who's to say? But also, theoretically, I feel like Devil in Disguise could be the last book, and I would be fine.
It could. I just
that wasn't like there's another character that I desperately wanted to get their own story.
I want to see which won't happen. More of Daisy and Matthew's kids and what happens there. But
rest in peace. Whatever happened to Daisy and Matthew.
I know.
I never liked either of them all that much, but it is weird that they vanished.
I know, but I suppose it's more than the hunts. Is it like
you do
Simon
get more of them than Simon and Annabelle. Justice for Simon and Annabelle. Their book wasn't my favorite, but I liked them.
I much prefer Daisy. I mean, obviously, Daisy and Matthew are far superior to me than Simon and Annabelle. I think her name's Annabelle. I don't know.
Yeah, but where did they go?
Well, that's the thing.
Like the Wallflowers. I want another Wallflowers book.
Yeah, because you could see Kleypas took the fans' reactions to the two heroes that they liked the most and the two heroines that they liked the most, and then wrote the families of them, and then just completely.
I feel like that was just because Lisa likes those ones. I think Lisa's just in love with not in love with, but I think she just likes Sebastian, which.
Yeah.
Don't we all? I love that man.
I prefer Matthew. I'm sorry.
Well, it's fine. We're all entitled to our wrong opinions. Well, we talked mostly about random tangents for a very long time.
But that TBR Tuesdays have no rules. So
TBR Tuesdays are supposed to be a half hour long.
With the weird pauses that we took, it'll get down to a half hour.
Okay. I'll leave it up to the editing. Oh, dang. Editing magician. I'm so tired. Just like,
oh, God.
Slap the hell out of my, what is this thing? Pop filter.
I know, I got one too. Looks so professional. Feel like an evil bitch. Evil bad bitch. Bad evil bitch.
Wow.
I imprinted it. You imprinted on the double toil and trouble.
Toil and trouble?
Whatever.
You've been cursed, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I imprinted on my evil bitch.
Well, I haven't gotten to my evil bitch yet. Hang on. Give me a sec. You, like, zoomed past me. You, like, hit me with a reading slump Mario Kart, little bomb thing. And now I'm, like, spinning out of control off the Rainbow Road. And you're lapping me. So, like, relax. Can you tell I played Mario Kart, like, 2 or 3 times in my life?
And I played like once or twice at a friend's house, and her younger brothers were laughing at how bad I was because I just couldn't move. Like I couldn't move my cart forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, relatable. I have nothing else. Continue being evil bitches, and read whatever you want. I don't know how to end this.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.